So with it being the new year, that can only mean one thing: the FA Cup is back in action this weekend, and we are here today to give you guys my FA Cup third round score predictions. We've got a bunch of games going on, including Championship clubs, which we'll be predicting in today's video, and all the FA Cup games are in the description down below so that you guys can go ahead and make your score predictions. And if you do get any of them right, your comment will be included next time. And speaking of your comments, if you did manage to get any of your New Year's Day score predictions correct, then I will include your comments on screen. Now, fair play to anyone who did get one right. It was a really tricky one to get correct because we had some absolutely bonkers scorelines going on. I got just the one correct. That was the Leeds against West Brom game, so not too bad going from me, but it was a tricky one. I'm interested to see what you guys are saying for these FA Cup games. Are there going to be any major upsets? Without any further ado, let's get into my score predictions. So starting things out, we got Bristol City going up against Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury currently sat 14th in League One, only one loss in their last 5 matches. They like to play with a 3-4-3 system, so I'm interested to see how that goes up against Bristol City, who they themselves haven't been on a great run lately. Lee Johnson is becoming under increasing pressure, especially after that result against Brentford on New Year's Day. Ashley Williams getting an early red card didn't help in that game, but even so, Lee Johnson was quite slow to react and change things about in that game. I've also been hearing some rumours that Lee Johnson and Casey Palmer have had a bit of a falling out between them, and Casey Palmer's currently been linked away from the club. I think Palmer showed earlier on this season what a quality player he could be, and if Bristol City are losing him, I think that'll be quite a loss to the club, really. They do like to go on the cup run though, and I see them getting through this one. I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory for Bristol City, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Bristol City. Next up, we then got Millwall going up against Newport. Newport, a side who are always capable of pulling off an upset in the FA Cup. Last season, they knocked out Leicester in the FA Cup third round, beating them 2-1 at home. The year before that, they took Spurs to a replay, so Millwall will have to be cautious of themselves. Although Newport aren't on the best of runs in League 2 at the moment, without a win in their last 7 matches. Millwall are on an absolute roll at this point in time. They were in the top 6 before Swansea played the other night. I'd imagine that Gary Rowett will look to make changes for this one, but I think they probably will progress with how hard they make it for teams at the moment, and with Newport not on the best of runs. I'll go 2-0 Millwall. FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. Next up, we got Rotherham going up against Hull. It's been a while since we last spoke about Rotherham on the channel, but they're going really well in League 1 at the moment. Still under Paul Warner, doing a really good job there. They're currently 2nd in the league, had a really good festive period. They've won their last 3 matches, and Rotherham against Hull always turns out to be an interesting match. There's been 15 goals in the last 3 meetings between these two sides, obviously. Hull themselves on a really good run in the Championship at the moment, getting really close up towards those top 6 spots. They've also recently completed the loan signing of Herbie Kane, coming on loan from Liverpool for the rest of the season. Really intrigued to see how he gets on there, but with how Rotherham are going in League 1 at the moment, I see maybe a bit of an upset in this one. I think that when you're on a promotion push, a cup run can actually go and help you push you along for the season. So for this one, I'm going to go for an upset. I'm going to go 3-2 Rotherham for that game. Hull always quite unpredictable. FIFA's going to say it'll just be 1-0 Rotherham. Our first all-championship tie is between Birmingham and Blackburn. Neither side on the best of form in the Championship at the moment, especially Birmingham, who just seem to have fallen off a cliff lately. I think defensive injuries haven't helped them, and Jake Clark-Salter could be back for this game, but I'm not sure if they're going to want to risk him in the cup game. But it's a good chance for either of them to get a little bit of momentum back. Blackburn did lose in the Championship on New Year's Day 3-2 away at Nottingham Forest. Interestingly, Ben Brereton was back in the starting 11 for that game, and since signing for Blackburn for £7 million, he's only managed 1 goal so far. I don't really know what's best for his career. I'd imagine he'd get another run out in the FA Cup in this one, but whether it's a loan move away or whether they should just persist with him, playing him in the squad, I'm not sure really. As much as Pep likes to chop and change things at Birmingham, there's no real consistency from the squad week in, week out. I've got a bit of a gut feeling about them in this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Birmingham, despite them conceding a lot of goals at home lately. Next up, we then got Brighton going up against Sheff Wednesday. Brighton going really well in the Premier League at the moment. It's at 14th in the table, and it's been nice watching them play this season under Graham Potter. In my Premier League prediction video at the start of the season, I did have Brighton to survive, and I was talking up Graham Potter a little bit, so it's nice to see them doing well, obviously. Some of their marquee standings coming from the Championship as well, the likes of Neil Maupay and Adam Webster moving over, and I've missed Neil Maupay a little bit in the Championship. His final season with Brentford, he was an absolute joy to watch. Sheff Wednesday at the moment, not on the greatest run of form. They have slipped out of the top 6. They were sat 3rd a couple of weeks ago, but after 3 losses in the Championship, they have slipped out of those places. Brighton, in the way they like to play, quite expansive going forward, could cause Wednesday some problems in this one. I'd imagine both sides will make changes, but I'm probably fancying Brighton at home for this one. I'm going to go for a 3-1 home victory in that game, with FIFA saying it'll be a goalless draw. Next up, we then got Cardiff going up against Carlisle. Neither side coming into this one on particularly unbelievable form. We had Cardiff getting battered 6-1 by QPR, and we've seen Carlisle getting beat 4-1 by Crewe before this one. So each side is coming into this one not particularly high on confidence and looking for a bit of the boost in the FA Cup. Cardiff, I believe, were knocked out of the FA Cup third round last year by Gillingham, so they have been accustomed to being knocked out by lower league opposition before. Carlisle aren't particularly going great in League 2 at the moment. They're currently sat sat 21st in the league. But in the FA Cup, upsets happen, and I actually fancy them to get something out of this one maybe. I'm going to back this one to go as replay. I'll say 1-1. If Cardiff do rotate their squad and someone like Lee Tomlin's not in the squad, they could struggle for creativity. So I'll say 1-1, FIFA saying 2-0 Cardiff. And then we see Fulham going up against Aston Villa. The last time these two sides met was at Wembley in the playoff final, where Fulham went on to advance to the Premier League, beating Aston Villa by 1-0. I looked at both lineups going into this prediction video from that day, and Fulham's squad has stayed fairly similar over the last couple of years, whereas Aston Villa have had serious change. The only two regular starters from that team that are still in the team now are probably Jack Grealish and Conor Hourihane. Aston Villa in the Premier League, been a bit of a frustrating one for them lately, although they did win at Burnley going into this one. Injuries haven't helped them, obviously. The injury to John McGinn earlier on this season, and recently I think that Tom Heaton and Wesley have both now been confirmed out for this season for Villa, so they're currently just sat above the relegation zone. So I'm sure that Villa fans will be hoping we won't be talking about them all too much on the channel next season and they do survive. But Fulham can be frustrating. They did lose on New Year's Day. They were beaten 2-1 by Reading after having an abundance of possession in that one. Once again, they became unstuck in it. I can't imagine that Villa are going to put out that strong of a team with the injuries they've got at the moment. I can't imagine they're going to risk people like Grealish and some other first team players. So for that reason, it gives Fulham a fighting chance. I actually think they might do Aston Villa over in this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then we got Southampton going up against Huddersfield. Southampton lately have pulled themselves away from danger in the Premier League after winning 3 of their last 5 matches. They've gone up to 12th in the table. At one point, it looked like they were a certainty for relegation, but lately they've been decent. Danny Ings been the main man for them going forward lately. One player who I would like to see being given a chance in the FA Cup is Che Adams. Not really hit the ground running so far for Southampton, but who knows, with a bit more game time, he might click into gear. Going up against this Huddersfield squad, who didn't get off to the best start this year. They did concede 5 against Stoke City. It was just a bad day at the office for them, really. For this one, I think I'm probably edging towards Southampton. I'm going to say 2-1 to the home side. And then we got Brentford going up against Stoke. Brentford currently boasting the best defensive record in the Championship, only conceding 20 goals so far this season. They put 4 goals past Bristol City on New Year's Day as well in a fantastic performance. Their front 3 in bang form at the moment. Something we have discussed about Brentford throughout the season, though, has been their squad depth, or lack thereof, perhaps, compared to some of their other competitors in the top 6. If Thomas Frankie's going to switch around the team a little bit, we'll see. We'll get a good glimpse into what they can be like if they do pick up a couple of injuries towards the latter end of this season. Stoke lately, although it hasn't been a sparkling season for them, have seemingly picked things up lately. They are currently sat outside the bottom 3, and they did pick up a fantastic result on New Year's Day, putting 5 goals themselves past Huddersfield. They really did pounce on a few defensive mistakes for that one. But for this one, I think Brentford at Griffin Park, with how expansive they can be, probably edging towards them. I'm going to say 3-1 Brentford in this game, with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. Next up, we then got North End going up against Norwich. Now, last season, Preston against Norwich, it was probably one of our best performances of the season, actually. We beat Norwich 3-1 at Deepdale. Declan Rudd, the former Norwich goalkeeper, had an absolute masterclass in goal. He saved the penalty, and overall, it was a fantastic performance. It's Alex Neil going up against his former side as well, so this one's got a little bit to it. Norwich, of course, it's been a frustrating season for them in the Premier League. I did predict them to survive at the start of the season, but they are currently sat bottom of the table. We said at the start of the season that defensively that might be their issue, and they have currently conceded the most goals in the Premier League. VAR, Norwich fans aren't the biggest fans of. I'm sure they'll be pleased that it won't be in action at Deepdale this weekend. It's a bit of a joke, really, that VAR is going to be involved in some FA Cup matches, but not others. It should be either all of them or none of them, but hey, VAR, it's been a bit of a mess all season, really. Norwich can take confidence from the fact that Preston haven't been in particularly great form at home recently. We have lost our last 2 home matches. I expect Alex Neil to make changes, and finally, we might get to see a bit more of Tom Bayliss, our record signing in the summer, who's just not featured for us apart from a few cup games here and there all season. So for this one, I'm actually feeling fairly confident for this one. I can't see Norwich putting out a particularly strong side with them wanting to focus on the Premier League. I think Preston will make changes as well, but I'll fancy us to get back to winning ways. I'll say 2-1 North End, with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Norwich. Should be a good game. Next up, we got Reading going up against Blackpool. Charlie Adam going up against his former club. I'm sure that everyone's seen that picture of Charlie Adam going around. It's been all over my Twitter feed lately, where he looks about 50 years old or something, but even so, he's been in absolute fantastic form for Reading lately and has been dictating the way they play. I'd imagine they're going to make changes. Blackpool at the moment, been a bit of a frustrating run they've gone on in League One. They've started out the season really well, obviously under new manager Simon Grayson, but I think they're without a win now in their last 5 matches in League One. It's typical of Simon Grayson, really quite a pragmatic manager. They've been just a little bit frustrating in front and goal, but they do have quite a few Championship experienced players in that squad. People like Jay Spearing, Liam Feeney, Nathan D'Alfonso, and do have the players who could cause Reading some problems, but with the way that Reading are going going at the moment in the Championship under Mark Bowen, scoring a lot of goals, being fantastic playing through midfield. They've won their last 4 matches. Probably edging towards them. We're going to go 3-1 Reading in this game. With Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Reading. Then we got Bournemouth going up against Luton. Both sides in danger of relegation at the moment, with Luton currently sat bottom of the Championship and Bournemouth going on a really bad run in the Premier League lately. I think that most people expected them to have another solid season in the Premier League, but at the moment Eddie Howe really is becoming under increased pressure. They didn't get off to a good start to the new year either, losing 4-0 away at West Ham. This game is a decent opportunity maybe to get a bit of confidence back against the Luton side, who has been very leaky at the back on New Year's Day. They lost 3-1 away at Millwall. Luton do bring a goal threat though and could look to play on the counter-attack, and I think they could get quite a bit of joy out of that. I'd imagine both teams will make changes. I can see it being quite a stretch game of football. I'm going to go for a 4-2 home victory for Bournemouth in this one. I see it being open, but I think that they probably will have a bit too much for Luton in this one. I'll say 4-2. FIFA saying 2-0 Bournemouth. Leicester against Wigan is our next fixture. Leicester obviously going fantastically in the Premier League at the moment, currently sat second. I'd imagine that they're probably going to go on and finish in the top 4, but even going on the cup run and maybe going on and challenging and winning the FA Cup will be a fantastic season for Leicester. I think that they've got them in there with the squad they've got at the moment. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers doing terrific things there. Going up against this Wigan squad who did win their first match of 2020, and it was away from home. A baffling stat: Wigan's last 3 wins away from home have all come in different calendar years, which is absolutely mental to think about. So their last 3 wins away from home have come in 2018, 2019 and now 2020. Can they follow it up with an away win at Leicester? I'm not so sure. I'm no doubt that Leicester are going to make changes for this one, but even their squad depth is fantastic. And for a score prediction, I'm probably going to go 4-1 Leicester. Thief is going to say it'll be 2-1 Leicester. I think they'll have too much. Charlton against West Brom comes up next. Charlton will try and make changes probably, but they don't really have all too much squad depth to go ahead and do that. West Brom will probably go ahead and do the same. I'm really intrigued to see how Andre Green gets on in this loan move to Charlton. Obviously spent the first half of the season on loan at Preston. Things didn't really work out for him there, but I think he's got something in him. Obviously he'll look to be the replacement for Jonathan Lecco, and he is available to play in the FA Cup this weekend, so if he does make his debut, I'm in no doubt that he'll probably go ahead and rip it up, and then he'll probably end up scoring against Preston in the fixture that we play later on in this season. The worst thing for Charlton at the moment probably will be to get a replay with how they're trying to get people back fit and into the starting 11, but you know what, I feel like the game might be going that way. I think it'll be quite open. I can see goals being scored, and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I'm going to say it's going to go to a replay at the Hawthorns, with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 West Brom. And then we got Chelsea going up against Nottingham Forest. Now Chelsea at Stamford Bridge have been a little bit inconsistent lately. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 home matches in the league, so Nottingham Forest should fancy their chances. It's a game which is really hard to predict without seeing the starting 11 of both sides. You know, how many changes is Lemucci going to make to Forest, who are on a fantastic run in the Championship at the moment, sat in the top 4 at the moment, and have won their last 3 matches. Now, I probably fancy Forest away from home more than I do at home at the moment as well, and for that reason, Chelsea's home record, you give them a fighting chance. I'm sure that all the Forest fans will be hopeful of getting one over on Frank Lampard as well. I'm probably going to say that Chelsea will just about do it, but if Forest put out a full squad, they're capable of an upset in that one. I'll go 2-1 Chelsea. FIFA's going to agree with me, but we'll see. Then we've got Crewe going up against Barnsley. Crewe on a fantastic run in League 2 at the moment. They're currently sat 3rd. They've scored 13 goals in their last 5 matches, and we all know Barnsley can be a little bit susceptible at the back. I imagine Barnsley are going to make quite a few changes for this one. They did lose the other night against Derby County by 2-1. Barnsley's obviously, most of their thoughts will be going towards survival this season, so I'm not sure how much attention they will be paying towards the FA Cup. For a prediction, I'm actually going to back Crewe with the form they're on. I'm going to say 3-2 in that one. I see quite a few goals being scored, but Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Barnsley. Then we got Middlesbrough going up against Spurs. Middlesbrough have had a fantastic run lately. They were meandering towards the bottom 3 earlier on in the season, but Woodgate seems to have turned things around. They've also had a really fast start to this transfer window, signing Patrick Roberts on loan and Lucas Nemetra as well, both coming from Man City. Lucas Nemetra spent last season out on loan at Preston, and although he did divide the Preston fan base, I think that's a cracking signing for Middlesbrough. Can either play down the middle or off to the wing, and I think that Middlesbrough there have got 2 really good dynamic attackers who are they were in need of a bit more oomph going forward. I think they've got that with those 2 players. Going up against Spurs is going to be no easy feat. Woodgate up against Mourinho. Spurs, of course, in need of a trophy, and you feel like Mourinho in the FA Cup this season, it might not be a bad time for them to do that. Middlesbrough, I think, will give them a game, but I think Spurs will probably have too much. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs in that one. Thief's going to say 2-0 Spurs. QPR against Swansea. Swansea sees another all-championship tie, both sides getting off to a good start in 2020. QPR putting 6 goals past Cardiff in an unbelievable home performance at Loftus Road. Nahki Wells getting a hat-trick in that game. British Samuel with 2 goals. He's always a player who I like watching. But Swansea also getting off to a winning start, beating Charlton by 1 goal to 0. Jan Dander scoring a fantastic goal in that game. And in the reverse fixture earlier on in the season, it was Swansea who did beat QPR at Loftus Road by 3 goals to 1. But with how QPR are playing at the moment, to be honest, I think I could see this one going to a replay. I'm going to back this one to finish as a 1-1 draw. FIFA saying it'll be a goalless draw. And then we got Crystal Palace going up against Derby. Obviously, we all know about Derby's less than convincing away record so far this season, but they did win in the new year, their first game of 2020. Wayne Rooney captaining the side for that one. Got a fantastic assist for the first goal, Jack Marriott scoring. Jack Marriott had some fantastic chances, which he had squandered before eventually going on to take the lead, but they did win that match by 2 goals to 1, and who knows, maybe 2020 things will be looking back up for Derby. Wayne Rooney really seemed to have an influence on that game playing from midfield. But Crystal Palace, really underrated job that Roy Hodgson's doing at the club there. I think that they didn't have the best of transfer windows last time out. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation linking Wilfred Zaha away from the club, but they're currently sat in the top 10 of the Premier League, and I think they're probably going to go on to win this match. I'm going to say 2-1 Palace in this one, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Derby. And then to finish things off, our last game involving a Championship side in the FA Cup this weekend sees Arsenal going up against Leeds on Monday night. Bielsa against Arteta. Oh, I'm really actually excited for this one. I think the last time these two sides met was when Thierry Henry scored that goal when he came back to the club for that brief spell. I think he scored against Andy Lonergan. Really nice finish in that one. But Leeds at the moment obviously sat top of the Championship, going fantastically. Arsenal did beat Man United, although, I mean, a lot of people have beaten Man United this season. In fairness to Arsenal and Arteta, you can see the influence he's starting to have on that squad, although Bielsa, I just feel as if he'll have some up his sleeve. I think it'll be a really interesting tactical battle. I'm not sure what side Leeds are going to put out for this one, whether they're going to put all their big guns out for it, or they are going to take a few people back and rest it. I'd imagine Arsenal are going to make quite a few changes for this one. And do you know, for an upset, last game of the video, I'm going to back Leeds for it. I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds. Why not? FIFA's going to say that Leeds are going to do it as well. They're saying 2-0. I'm interested to see what you guys are saying for that one. But guys, there you have it. There are my FA Cup third round score predictions for all the games involving a Championship club. For the other games, I'll leave on screen there. Those are my predictions for what I'm fancying for the games that don't involve a Championship club in the FA Cup this weekend. So leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Get your score predictions in there for a chance to be involved in the next video. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.